My name is Ratnesh Nagda. Racially, so in the US, I was born in Kenya, in Africa, but my family is from India. So, but in the US, I really identify as South Asian, and so you can see it as maybe part of the larger Asian American community, but more specifically South Asian.
Just treating somebody differently because of the color of their skin.
I'm a sociology comp major and a LSJ major here at University of Washington. I believe that segregation or discrimination involves not only the color of your skin, but the ability of your actions. So my examples would be the color of your skin here at the Washington State. You're looked likely as more involved in criminal action as you are involved in the community because of your skin. This, I believe, is completely wrong because I know so many people that give back to their community and yet get no recognition for it because of the color of their skin. So Latino, African American, especially here at the University of Washington, you have African Americans living in the northern side who live in a lower poverty area or higher poverty area than the whites because they're African American. So this to me is segregation. Just because it's not just because of the color of their skin, but because the ability that the state believes that they can do.
I think in the US, racial discrimination, I would say, is defined as just as kind of multi-level, from in the institutional to the individual, ways that people discriminate based on race. And in the US particularly, it's about discrimination against people of color. So whether it's Native American, Latino, Asian, African American, all those communities I think are discriminated. And the discrimination means they have less access to power, less access to resources, less access to opportunities, even maybe worse quality of life, less pay, everything.
Hi, my name's Crystalyn Howard and I'm an English major. Basically just discriminating against someone by their race, showing some type of bias based off of their skin color, their racial preference. For example, if I'm black, you don't like me because I'm black. That's a good example.
In some ways it's very difficult to answer because I think as a South Asian person in the US, it's almost like I feel discrimination is kind of part of my life here. So if I can pick single moments, but I almost feel it every day. And maybe I just say maybe I'll talk a little bit about how I just feel it every day, because you're sort of on almost hyper-vigilance or hyper-alert about, how people are perceiving you or if people are discriminating against you because, I also have an accent, so how people are hearing me. So I'm always hyper-vigilant about that. More specifically, if I think about racial incidents, if for example, I'm in line waiting for something and someone kind of just doesn't even see me and serves the person who's standing behind me in line. That happens. Or I've also seen sometimes people, and usually white people, just assume that I'm not even in line and they're just cut in front of me in line. So even though it's not individually directed at me, but it's just, you feel it because it's just happening to you right there. Those are very simple. But the funny thing I also want to say, these are kind of more blatant, but I think the other ways I want to say is about microaggressions and how those really act out daily. So someone said, "Oh, where are you from?" And they don't even stop for me to answer. They said, "Oh, you're from India," because I look Indian, and I said, "No." And they said, "Where are you from then?" "Pakistan?" I said, "No." And then I said, "I'm from Kenya." But I said, "What?" "But people in Kenya, but you're not African." But those are really microaggressive moments, So and those happen even when people are trying to be nice or trying to be nice, But so it happens in the institution, even in the University of Washington. There's very few tenured faculty of color, So sometimes in meetings where we are the only person of color in a meeting, So even though it's not overt discrimination, it's institutionalized discrimination. So then the ways we approach those meetings or the ways we are talking to people in those meetings, we have to be very conscious of that, So
Yeah, of course I felt racial discrimination, but now I'm at a point since I'm older where I pretty much just ignore it, or I don't really pay too much attention to it. But I saw it on campus when I first got involved here, but I kind of just removed myself from that area. My employer, I could tell, was definitely racist. He would always make references towards black people, like, oh, good, you're not like those other black people, or good, you're not ghetto. And I'm like, yeah, definitely not. But how exactly do I go about proving him differently? I don't go all out and get this attitude. It's just like, no, I'm definitely not like that. You shouldn't discriminate against black people and just assume that we're all ghetto. You should try to get to know us first.
I'm German, and I have not.
No, I can't say that.
I cannot. Like, I have, like, him too. Like, we work at a gymnastics area, and him and I both have seen happen, whether or not, and it's almost the opposite when it comes to sports, because you believe that if someone's African American, that they can do more than a white person. But when you come back here on campus, it's almost like the opposite. It's almost like you believe that an African American or a Latino can do less because of the environment that they're raised in. Because whites are more privileged as they grow up, they're given more opportunities.
Steps on the ladder.
Give an example. If you think of SAT scores, ACT scores, they, white Americans can pay for extra tutors, they can pay for extra billing, they can pay for so many more things than Latinos and African Americans.
SATs don't really test your knowledge.
But
It's just
they don't test your knowledge, but they're what make you get into a school. For example, for UW, if I didn't place into the 1800s, I wouldn't have got in. If I didn't get my tutor from my parents paying for it, I wouldn't have got in. So that's different. That's totally different than the Latinos, African Americans that were back in my high school. And I mean, he's totally different race than I was. Probably roughly the same. Yeah, you're more privileged than what you can pay. So.
My name is Ryan Javier. I'm an AES major.
My name's Desiree, and my major is anthropology.
Identifies tomorrow, and everything from like high school, where they would be surprised if I could type something up just because, oh, you're a Pacific Islander, you don't know how to do such thing.
Yeah.
Or whether it could be involved with the police, or we could be involved with school, or just anything in terms like I would be judged based on like, oh, you're an Islander, so you should be a successor in being a football player and being an athlete, or being something else you're not. So definitely, almost in everyday life, if you're colored in the society we live in, you automatically have to work harder, and you automatically have to strive for more, because every day we face it. No matter if someone wants to admit it or not, we don't have that equal stride to make it. So yeah, definitely, I feel like racially discriminated based on me being dark brown and whatnot. So yeah.
For me, definitely a big part of my life was through school. I felt like I was racially discriminated by not just the students, but like teachers themselves. And only because of the stereotypes, they probably just have, not the teachers, but it's more like just how it is. And I felt like, okay, just because I'm Pacific Islander, I'm supposed to be like, not, go and pursue higher education. Like I felt like in high school, although I did International Baccalaureate, the program, the teachers, yeah, they were nice, but a lot of the teachers in the IB program, are of dominant culture. And having them say to me like, oh, like what language do you speak at home? Because they can't like understand what I wrote or what I said in my paper or that I typed up. And so I just felt like I wasn't getting support and throughout like school, just because of how I am and how I moved here, because I was in ESL for a huge part of my life, and I was like, why do I need ESL? Because they think I don't know English.
And another thing to add on to that too, like Pacific Islanders don't even make 1% of population over here at UW, and people of color, like in a way, racial discrimination. If you think about it, like after high school, you feel feel as if your life is like done. You gotta work, start family, and whatnot. Pursuing college education in itself is in the racial discrimination spectrum because they don't expect people like us that are
We're
colored
first
to.
generation.
Yeah, there's no. They don't expect people like us to pursue education beyond because college is more like a dream. Like if you go there, like whoa, it's not an expectation. They don't think you're intelligent and smart enough and good enough. It's all the people you see around you.
So you would say even being on like a liberal campus like UW's campus, you still felt that
Oh, definitely.
racial discrimination here on campus?
Oh, definitely. When you walk around UW, you feel like you guys go here. You predominantly it's white and Asians over here. Like you see predominantly all the white. I'm not used to seeing people like us. You know what I mean? And it's not to say like it's the students' fault or whatnot. It's just the system of its own.
The system itself.
Yeah, the system of its own.
It's not any like our own faults. It's just how we've assimilated to what the culture is here and how people are getting these ideas and perceptions about other people.